how do we see the theme of death? So again, this quote is not from a text which has anyone dying in it. It's not from anything that has anything to do with death. This question, yeah, seems like it's impossible to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it just to show you, to prove my point, that there are no impossible questions and that any quote can be used to answer any question. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use word choice. Okay, so first of all, we need to pick a word. Okay, fine, we'll use this word here, gingerly. Now, again, the key to this that I need you to understand and to really, really understand is you need to take it one step at a time. If you try to jump to the end right now, then it won't work. You'll just panic and you won't get there. What you need to do, okay, is you need to take it one step at a time. Don't think about the next step until you've done the step that you're on. So we have gingerly. Now we're looking at just this relates to. We're not worried about what comes next. So this relates to being careful. We'll just think about two, being careful and cautious. Okay, and now we just think about this suggests. And again, that principle, whatever you write, bring it forward. Excuse me, whatever you write, bring it forward. Okay, bring it to the next step. This suggests the astronauts were being careful and cautious while in space. Now you can see that we're already close to an answer. You see that? We're already close to an answer. We're already close to an answer. Okay, so now again we set it up the same way. This shows the theme of death. Okay, because, and again, whatever we wrote up here in the step before, we carry it forward. Whatever we wrote before, we carry it forward. This shows the theme of death because the astronauts were being careful and cautious while in space so as to avoid dying. And just like that, we have an answer. Just like that, we have an answer. We have an answer to a question which should not be answered. Yeah, it's not supposed to fit. We have an answer to a question using a quote which is not having anything on the surface to do with it. Do you see that? Okay, another one, and then we'll be done. Another one just to show you what I'm saying is true. We'll answer this. We'll use the same quote and we'll answer a different question. How do we see the theme of love? Okay, what does astronauts in space talking about their boots? What does that have to do with love? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to follow the steps. Yeah, one step at a time. And the answer will reveal itself to us. So again, we're going to use word choice. So we look, we'll just put the quote in again. Gingerly setting his big wellies in the dust. Okay. I'm not going to include the other part because we didn't do it before. Okay. Now we're going to pick a word. And again, I'm going to make this even more difficult. I'm going to pick the word in here, which seems like it has nothing to do with okay, so we can either pick wellies or we can pick setting. Fine, we'll pick setting. Okay, so again, if you just seen this, the point I'm trying to make for you guys is I want you to see that there are no impossible or scary questions. Okay, because if you've seen this in your exam, you might think this is impossible. But as I'm showing you, it's not. It's actually quite easy. All you have to do is just take it one step at a time. Whatever you write down, pull it forward to the next step, and then just follow that along until you get to the answer. That's all you have to do. And the key point I'm trying to make is if this is true, okay, for these quotes which have nothing to do with the text, and the question has nothing to do with the text, imagine how much easier it's going to be for you in terms of questions that are on your text. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's do this and then we'll be done. So setting, again, all I'm thinking about is just this step. This relates to placing something, as in setting something down, placing something, or a environment, like a setting. environment. Okay, this suggests the astronauts, and again, I take what I've written and I pull it to the next step. The astronauts were placing their feet. This suggests the astronauts were placing their feet carefully in the space environment, just taking what I've written and pulling it down. Okay, now I think about the question. This shows the theme of love because the astronauts, and again, all I'm doing is I'm pulling down to the next step, whatever I've said. Okay, taking what I've said and pulling it to the next step. The astronauts were placing their feet carefully. Okay, and now I need to just think about how, in what way does that connect to love? In any way does it connect to love? Okay, this shows love because the astronauts, here look, loved their boots and didn't want to damage them. And if you want to do more, wanted to do an additional one. And the astronauts loved themselves and didn't want to damage their equipment, which would lead to them dying. And on and on and on. I could also mention their families, I could mention their country, etc., etc. So you see, you see, from something that should not be possible, we come up with an answer. We answer the theme of love from this, yeah, talking about the astronaut's boots. We talk about love. How? We just take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Whatever we write, we pull it forward. So the real key for you, my students, the key is that there are no difficult, scary questions, okay? You just need to get good at practicing what I've just showed you in this lesson. You just need to practice taking what you have, taking it one step at a time, and then finding a way at the end, not thinking about the end until you get there. And then once you get to the end, finding a way to tie it in to whatever it is that you're talking about. And you can see from what I've just shown you, okay, if I can do this with, and you can do this too, it's not just because, you know, I'm some genius or something. It's just a case of one step at a time. And then imagine how much easier it's going to be when you actually get to your exam and the questions and the quotes are actually on the topic. So practice doing this, okay? Give yourself questions which seem, you know, random and possible. Practice applying your quotes to them. And what will happen because of that is you will become relaxed and you'll lose all of your fear of exams in terms of exam questions and all of your worry, because if you can do this, why would you be worried about what question you're going to get? That's how you need to be, especially if you want to call yourself one of my students. That's how I expect you to be. It's not appropriate for any of my students to be afraid of anything, especially not some words. You know what I'm saying? Okay, good.